Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into your sources on a concept that, well, lots of us know the word, but maybe don't often stop to really unpack it. Theology. You might think, oh, study of God, right? But it turns out there's quite a bit more under the surface. We've got this really interesting introductory lecture that challenges those, simple ideas and shows just how rich this field is. So our mission today, get past the easy answers, really get to grips with what theology is, how people understand it, and honestly, why it matters for you.
That's exactly right. It's not just about a word. It's a whole way of thinking that's shaped centuries, millennia even. We're going to look at why just saying study of God doesn't quite cut it and what a fuller picture tells us about, well, relating to the divine.
Okay, sounds good. Let's unpack this and maybe uncover some surprises right away. So, if you ask someone on the street, what's theology? They'll likely say, the study of God. Seems pretty straightforward. But the source material immediately says, hold on, it's actually much harder to pin down. Why is that simple definition so problematic right off the bat?
Yeah, it's fascinating how that common definition, study of God, can actually be a bit misleading. The Wycliffe Theological Bible Dictionary, for example, it points out that most definitions are either, well, too simple,
Right.
or they lean too heavily on one specific angle, maybe one source, and end up leaving other important parts out. And I mean, think about it. How could we possibly claim to fully study God in his, absolute infinite nature? That's, well, it's probably beyond our human grasp. It's also easy to fall into the trap of seeing theology only through the lens of, say, systematic theology.
Okay. Like focusing just on specific doctrines, Christology or the church, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Christology, ecclesiology, those are crucial parts, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they aren't the whole story, not by a long shot.
Okay, so it's not just a quick dictionary definition. We need the sort of balanced view. What does, starting with that challenge, that difficulty in defining it, tell us about the nature of theology itself?
Well, I think it immediately tells us we're dealing with something profound, something vast. It requires a certain intellectual humility. It signals that real theological work isn't about finding easy answers or boxing God in. It's about a continuous, respectful striving for deeper understanding. It sets the stage for rigorous thinking, not just easy agreement.
That makes a lot of sense. Sets a tone of reverence,
Yeah.
almost.
Sure.
So if it's so hard to define and it's this huge concept, how did we even get the term? One thing that jumped out at me from the sources was that the word theology, it isn't actually in the Bible, a bit like the word Trinity, right? How does that work if it's so central now?
Yeah, that's a great point. Its absence in the scripture itself doesn't make it less important. It shows it sort of grew organically. The idea, the practice of thinking deeply about God developed right alongside the early church. Our sources point to Origen, an early church father back in the 3rd century. He seems to be the first key figure to really use theology in a specifically Christian way. And for him, it wasn't just academic. He used it to talk about the, quote, sublimity and majesty of knowing God. Something beautiful, extraordinary.
Wow, sublimity and majesty. That's quite a description.
It really is. And then later you have Eusebius of Caesarea. He was writing in the 4th century, a historian really, organizing documents. He was really key in popularizing the term origin it introduced. So Origen plants the seed, you could say, and Eusebius helps it spread and become part of the standard conversation in the church.
Okay, that's a neat historical path. But the word itself, theology, where does it actually come from? What are its roots?
Etymologically, yeah, it's straight from Greek. You've got theos,
Meaning God.
right, and logos, which is a rich word. It can mean study, word, reason, discourse, treatise. So at its very core, theology is about a reasoned, systematic study or discourse about God, what he is, what he does, what he means. That Greek root already hints at the structured, thoughtful approach it involves. It's not just feeling, it's also reasoning.
Okay, so we've wrestled with the definition, traced its history. Now, how do we actually do theology? Or how do we build a solid understanding? Our source brings in Charles Ayer's Basic Theology for Everyone and lays out 3 sort of essential principles. What's the first one?
Right, Ayer gives us these pillars, and the first one is crucial. Theology is intelligible. It means it can be understood by the human mind, logically, rationally.
Okay, so not just mystical feelings or something beyond comprehension.
Exactly. It directly challenges the idea that theology is purely mystical, or it requires you to somehow switch off your brain. The source makes a strong point. Faith doesn't bypass reason. It engages and even enhances it. God gave us minds for a reason, right? We're meant to use them to explore truth, including spiritual truth.
That's a powerful idea, faith engaging reason. Sometimes those feel like they're put in opposite corners. How does that first pillar lead into the next